While there were so many reasons to celebrate this year, 2022, there were also moments when the entertainment industry mourned the loss of a beloved colleague. America is the world's richest country with a historical streak of heists and bank robberies. A heist is an armed robbery, oftentimes masterminded by regular workers with hired friend associates. New York is the scene for 3 of the 8 most legendary heists, while 2 of the biggest happened in a third of a year span for a total amount of around $60 million. The most intriguing heists involve crafty criminals, inside jobs, airports, and hotels. By stealing money and valuables from banks and businesses, many criminals end up in prison and only a fraction of the money is recovered. These largest heists and bank robberies in American history are as different as the people who planned and executed them. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification button so you get notified when we drop our amazing videos. Let us know any suggestions you may think of. Leave your comment below. 9. Join Together California Bank Theft, Walk 24, 1972, $30 million. $30 million worth stolen from the Join Together California Bank was the greatest heist in American history. It took put on Walk 24, 1972, days after the most guilty parties Emil and James Dincio, proficient hoodlums from Ohio, flew in their nephews, brother-in-law, and 2 partners for the heist in Laguna Niguel, California. These offenders listened to rumor that President Richard Nixon kept a multi-million-dollar stash at this specific Join Together California bank. Upon leasing a townhouse, they arranged and carried out the heist by incapacitating the cushions and blasting a gap within the bank's secure store vault roof with dynamite. The group immaculately cleared out the scene of the wrongdoing, carrying out $30 million worth of cash and resources, taking after which they fastidiously cleaned the townhouse from proof and fled the city. The cops recognized the thieves with a liberal tip from their taxi driver as well as overlooked fingerprints interior the dishwasher. The Dincio brothers utilized their genuine names to travel, and upon return domestic, the ravenous bunch attempted performing a comparable heist in Ohio. In the long run, agents connected the 2 heists, and upon compiling proof, captured all individuals of the pack, with most of the plunder recovered. 8. Pierre Lodging, Unused York, Modern York, January 2, 1972, $27 million. Samuel Nallo and Robert Consolation went down in history in 1972 with a wrongdoing within the Guinness World Records as the most effective lodging burglary. Stolen from the Pierre Lodging in Modern York, the amazing heist was worth $27 million. The weathered and talented hoodlums had as of now stolen $1 million each in adornments and cash from the Sherry Netherlands lodging. Nallo and Consolation separately arranged and organized the heist on the Pierre, with a differing gather of hoodlums included in direct action. There was Robert Bob E. Germain and Alan Visconti, 2 partners of the Lucchese wrongdoing family, Holly Ben, a contract executioner for the Turkish Mafia, and his brother-in-law Al Green. Scratch the Cat Sacco, an independent contract executioner, Donald Franco's 2 taken an interest. They immaculately performed the heist at 3:04 on January 2, 1972, taking 19 prisoners at the scene. The gather had different destinies upon separating ways, with Nallo slaughtered by an obscure shooter in 1988, and Consolation slaughtered by mafia bosses. Ali Ben and Al Green gotten away to Europe, whereas the Cat sole survivor sits detained for another crime. 7. Dunbar Shielded Theft, September 12, 1997, $18.9 million. One of the greatest heists in American history happened on September 12, 1997 for the stolen sum of $18.9 million. It included a 6-man group with Alan Pace in the lead, who was a safety reviewer at the Dunbar Armored Trucking Company. Pace learned the inward workings and security strategies at the Dunbar office in Los Angeles amid his work, counting cameras, and planned the heist to dodge them. He moreover knew that the vault would be open on a Friday night when huge amounts of cash were removed. He selected 5 childhood companions for the burglary, who all broke in amid lunch break, attacked 2 watches, and ransacked the vault, all in half an hour. Pace moreover took the recording gadgets absent from the cameras sometime recently, stacking $18.9 million into a U-Haul truck and getting absent. The burglars begun gradually washing stolen cash through property bargains and imposter businesses, but one messy thief loaned a few of the cash to a companion in its unique cash straps. Caught hot-handed, only about $5 million of money was ever recovered. 6. Walk 1997 Loomis Fargo theft. Walk 29, 1997, $18.8 million. On Walk 29, 1997 in Jacksonville, Florida, Loomis Fargo misplaced $18.8 million within the fourth biggest heist in American history. Philip Noel Johnson, the company's armored car driver, took the money from the Loomis Fargo vehicle that he was driving upon cuffing his co-workers and taking off them completely different location. Johnson covered up the cash and moved to Mexico, but attempted to return to the U.S. as well before long and admirable. Upon giving suspicious reactions at traditions, the specialists put him beneath the examination of the specialists and captured him for carrying multiple identifications. His capacity shed with roughly $18 million was moreover as of now uncovered. 5. October 1997 Loomis Fargo burglary. October 4, 1997, $17.3 million. Loomis Fargo's bad luck streak proceeded, losing another strong $17.3 million fare over half a year afterward. In October in Lady, North Carolina, the mastermind, David Scott Gant, was the territorial vault administrator for Loomis Fargo, with simple get to the vault and schemers making a difference within the foundation. Upon stacking over $17.3 million into a branded truck, Gant moved the cash to private cars with his partners. Arranging to stash most of the stolen cash absent for time being, Gant crossed the border to Mexico with an permitted $50,000 on him. The taking after morning, Gant was the most suspect at work as it were truant worker, as well as seen on cameras. The investigators at last associated the entire group to the wrongdoing conspire, with most cash returned, $2 million still lost, and mastermind's comedy discharged taking after the occasions. The specialists indicted 8 more individuals for the wrongdoing and found 16 others of roundabout involvement. 4. Century Armored Car Company burglary, December 12, 1982, $11 million. One of the most popular thefts in American history took place within the Bronx neighborhood of modern York City when Century heavily clad car company misplaced a strong $11 million in a cleverly orchestrated heist. To protect 25-year-old Christos Podamitis composed a situation with outfitted partners who punched a gap within the wooden roof of the armored company's base camp. Podamitis let them in and bound himself to seem victimized for the most excellent interior work of the century. The wrongdoing happened on an end of the week sometime recently. Millions of dollars cleared out on Monday, loaning to the greatest cash theft in U.S. history at the time. 5 of the offenders confronted jail charges, with as it were $1.5 million ever recuperated. The specialists captured Cristo on February 2, 1983 on getaway in San Juan at a private resort. His accomplice in crime, 21-year-old George Legacki, intentionally appeared up for a dressing and was taken on the spot. 3. JFK Worldwide Airplane Terminal, Modern York, New York, December 11, 1978, $5.9 million. The Lufthansa heist was the biggest cash burglary at the time in American history, with an assessed $5.9 million stolen. The theft on December 11, 1978, happened at the JFK Worldwide Airplane Terminal in modern York City, modern York. Rumor has it that American gangster Jimmy Burke was the plan behind the heist. Burke was never formally charged and got absent with $5 million cash and $875,000 in gems. The wrongdoing is the longest in American history beneath examination, with the most recent capture in 2015. There are moreover 3 motion pictures propelled by the heist of $10 million getaway, The Huge Heist, and the scandalous Goodfellas film. 2. Brinks Building, Boston, Massachusetts, January 17, 1950, $2.8 million. The Lufthansa heist was the biggest cash burglary at the time in American history, with an assessed $5.9 million stolen. The burglary on December 11, 1978, happened at the JFK Universal Airplane Terminal in modern York City, unused York. Rumor has it that American hoodlum Jimmy Burke was the engineer behind the heist. Burke was never formally charged and got absent with $5 million cash and $875,000 in gems. The wrongdoing is the longest in American history beneath examination, with the latest arrest in 2015. There are moreover 3 motion pictures motivated by the heist of $10 million getaway, The Enormous Heist, and the scandalous Goodfellas film. 1. Brinks Building, Boston, Massachusetts, January 17, 1950, $2.8 million. The Brinks building misplaced $2.8 million on January 17, 1950 in a heist that went down in history as the wrongdoing of the century. The main offender, plan and pioneer, Joseph Big Joe McGinnis, driven his equipped group of 11 dressed in bank regalia and Halloween covers. That evening, they got into the moment floor with replicated keys, bound and choked the workers, taking everything but a box of finance for the common electric company McGinnis, and indeed revolvers from the employees. They got away with $211.29 stolen cash and $183.83 in checks, cash orders, and other securities. They concurred not to spend the money for a long time, the time for the statute of impediments to run out, but fair 5 days earlier to it running out, the larger part of the group confronted capture. 8 of them got most extreme life sentences. They were all paroled in 1971 except for McGinnis, who kicked the bucket in jail, and as for the money, as it were, 1/5 of the $2.7 million was ever recovered. It is no surprise that the wealthiest nation within the world is set for verifiable heists and bank thefts. Unused York is tormented with historically big violations, whereas Loomis Fargo may fair be the unluckiest wealthy company in America, losing over $36 million in 6 brief months. These greatest heists and bank robberies in American history are a few of the most curiously ones. Both weathered and unused offenders stole hefty holes, with still pending examinations, and much of the cash regularly unrecovered. With better security, greater charges, and more regrettable punishments, there are no later heists or big bank burglaries. However, history directs that the foremost infamous offenders will overcome challenges to urge wealthy on the spot. That's all we have for you today. What do you think about our video? Let us know in the comment section down below, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the share button.